Hello and welcome to episode 178 of our SAP on Azure video podcast. Today is February 8th, and together with Robert and Goran, we are here to talk about anything related to SAP and Microsoft. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
As you might see from my AI-generated background, I am recording this episode from a hotel room in Hamburg. I was attending the DSAG Technology Days, Technologietage 2024, and since there were quite a lot of activities, not only from SAP, but also from Microsoft, I thought it would be a good idea to recap the event and share some of the impressions right after the event. So unfortunately, Goran, you could not be here with me this week, but we had quite a few other colleagues from Microsoft attending. So let me start by...
And for the maybe broader community, there are those SAP user group. Americas is the biggest one, I believe. And we had a guest, but the German one, the Deutsche SAP German-speaking user group, it's the second one, right? And
Yes.
as well, similarly like in the US, it's also the SAP board member are always there, and they have a huge influence on what the SAP should do as well.
Absolutely, they are very vocal when it comes to some pointing out some of the issues.
Especially the German group, yeah.
Yes. So and actually that was also one of the mottos of this technology days. It was from vision to reality, and they talked about this black box, and they had some quite criticism on what SAP is doing there, especially with RISE. What about customers that still need and want to have on-premise functionalities, and what about some of the other announcements on discontinuing some of the products? What about Adobe Forms? So it was really interesting. There were a lot of things that were raised by Sebastian Westphal. So the the CTO or the Technology Vorstand at DSAG. So it was a really interesting event, I would say. So we have all the links again, obviously, in our show notes. You can download the presentations of the event. You can watch the keynote on YouTube. We'll come to this in a second. But what I want to highlight is I think this year. So here, Juergen Mueller was there. Obviously, Sebastian Westphal was there. We also had Micha Fritz, who talked about Viva Con Aqua around sustainability. But what I want to highlight, we had really quite a big presence from the Microsoft side. So we had a booth there where several colleagues from our SAP field were there, where they talked about what we are doing with SAP. We had quite a lot of sessions. So for example, Martin Pankratz, who has been on the show multiple times, he had a very good session with a customer on SAP security monitoring. So leveraging basically Microsoft Sentinel to also protect your SAP systems.
If I may just quickly interrupt.
Yeah, of course.
I was a little bit looking, not the whole session, and Sebastian Westphal actually he mentioned or stressed on the beginning also there are so many security attacks, and he stressed this as a highly valuable and important part. So, I mean, these kind of piece of the Microsoft Sentinel with integration to the SAP, it's absolutely fitting this kind of, business need.
Goran, actually, that was exactly when I was sitting in the keynote and listening to it. That was exactly my thinking, that we're spot on, because we not only had this session here, actually on the other day, we had another session that really looked after security. So there was one session with Sebastian Ulrich and Martin Pankratz on hackers spend up to 300 days in your SAP system before they are detected. and they had a really nice session about how you can find these breaches, how you can detect if something is going wrong in your SAP system from a security point of view. So it was really, we were spot on with these topics. But then it
Excellent.
was not only security. We also had one session about SAP and Microsoft in general, where we talked about AI, where we talked about low code, where we also talked a lot about DevOps. We had a customer and partner presentations where we talked about eventing. So I think, yeah, we had talked about event integrations from SAP into the Microsoft world quite often. And here was a nice presentation from Integra, so from the customer, who worked with the partner Asapio to have sorry, an event integration. And then we also had one session around low code, no code. So where we talked about Power Automate in combination actually with SAP Build Process Automation. So how we can really bring these low code platforms together.
Yeah.
So that was also really nice.
I mean, one interesting, I'm just jumping in again from Sebastian Westphal. He also requested the SAP and BTP platform to be open also for the OpenAI. And there are many workshops organized from a DSAG, and Microsoft was, of course, always there. Probably, I believe, the guy who is presenting had his fingers here. Called one guy called Holger Bruchelt, right?
No, thanks, Goran.
But absolutely, I mean, huge interest for the AI, and huge interest to, I mean, what I understood or request to the SAP to be open for the integration as well, right?
Correct. And not only that, I think one of the things, and let me just quickly jump ahead, one of the things, for example, that was asked by the community is, yes, there is a lot of AI, or KI, künstliche Intelligenz, artificial intelligence on the SAP side, especially this SAP Business AI. But there was this question, well, where are the concrete applications? What does it really mean for the end user, basically? How does AI now? How is AI part of the products? And there's more or less hype. And exactly what you said. In one of our sessions, actually in one of our hands-on sessions, we exactly addressed that. We talked actually, for example, about Microsoft 365 Copilot. We talked about ChatGPT, and actually myself and also Sebastian Ulrich, we had a session where we showed how we internally at Microsoft are actually already using AI on a daily basis. So when we record a Teams meeting, that we can easily create a summary. You might have seen, if you are watching this episode, you might have seen that now for the last few weeks in the descriptions, we always add an AI generated summary. This is all done by Copilot. When I develop something in Visual Studio Code, I am using GitHub Copilot. And when I'm creating a Word document, or when I'm starting to create a new presentation in PowerPoint, I'm using Copilot to do these things. So I actually think this question here, is AI a hype, or where is it in applications? At least from a Microsoft point of view, I can clearly say it's there, and I'm really leveraging it, especially, for example, in Teams. This is such a huge benefit for us that we can really just ask for a meeting summary, that we can ask for action items, and it's not working perfectly, certainly not. And that was also really one of the things that I wanted to stress in my session here, that I showed these are the places where it's really valuable, and I was also very transparent and said, look, and in these cases, I'm not using it right now because it is not as good. But there are so many things where it really brings value to me right now that I certainly don't want to miss it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the other thing that was mentioned, and actually let me quickly go here to the keynote, because the keynote actually was pretty cool. They had some holograms. I'm not sure if you probably cannot really see it in the video here, but they really had a nice job. They had a screen in front of the presenter, basically, so a transparent screen in front of the presenter, and they basically were able to, so this wording here, for example, hackathon, that was hovering in front of the presentation, the person presenting here, and that really had some cool effects. So that here, well, it's loading. That Sebastian was standing next to or behind these holograms. It was really cool. And then actually, what was also really nice, I mean the motto was from vision to reality, and they started. Let me scroll here to the front. Where is it? They started to bring Juergen Mueller on stage. And Juergen Mueller at first was only there as this hologram. And I was already thinking, well, it was nice. It was really great. So here you can see the two, Juergen Mueller and Sebastian, interacting. And Juergen Mueller was just a hologram. And it was really cool, actually. It worked extremely well. So I was lucky. I was sitting really in the middle. And apparently, if you sat very much to the right or very much to the left, it didn't look so good. But in the middle, it looked really, really impressive. And but still, he was only there virtually, so as a vision, basically. But then, and that was really the cool thing, then Juergen Mueller really came on stage. So they had a nice discussion on stage. They talked to each other about some of the topics that we already mentioned. So here you can see Juergen Mueller and Sebastian really sitting there on the stage. It was really good. And then he also addressed quite a few topics also in the context of Microsoft again. And one of the things that he talked about was there is this, the SAP has a product called SAP Identity Management, which is an on-premise product. And they already announced that this will be discontinued by 2027. And there will be extended maintenance until 2030. But obviously there are a lot of customers that are using the identity management solution from SAP. So what is SAP going to do with these customers that need a solution beyond 2027 or 2030? And actually, he was clearly saying, well, we are here, Microsoft and SAP are collaborating on developing a guidance and additional functionalities to empower customers to use Microsoft Entra ID. So Microsoft Entra ID is the new name of Azure Active Directory. But I think it's also very, very good to see that it's not only the cloud, the infrastructure pieces, it's not only the Teams integration, the AI integration, but it's also here identity, where SAP and Microsoft are working very, very closely together to help the customers move forward.
I mean, this is a big thing. That SAP is leaning to the Microsoft identity, so to say, which means also, I mean, trust in Microsoft and the power of this. Cool. Yeah.
Exactly. I fully agree. That's for me a very, very strong statement, because identity is super important. Obviously, it's something really key, and that SAP is selecting basically Microsoft for the collaboration. I think it goes a very long way.
It's huge. Yeah.
Good, and then so this was basically 2 days of technology days, but then there was a third day, and that's why I'm still actually in Hamburg and not already home, like some other colleagues. There was also something called DSAG TechXchange. The idea of TechXchange was to really have some hands-on experiences, and again, I mean, there were tracks from TechEd or from SAP. There were other vendors that presented, but also Microsoft had a fairly strong presence. So again, Martin Pankratz, together with Volker Butzek, so one of the SAP mentors, there were some cool hands-on sessions about the SAP Cloud SDK on Azure. Martin also did a session on the ABAP Cloud, so really ABAP development together with Microsoft services. And as mentioned before, we had a session on ChatGPT, so where we used Copilot Studio, where we talked about the Microsoft Copilot, and where we also talked about Azure DevOps and how Microsoft does modern ABAP development, how we are using AI, how we are using code generations for ABAP already internally at Microsoft, how we are using GitHub to work with our code. And that was also really cool. We had a lot of, so basically all of our tracks were completely sold out, which was great to see. In these 2 sessions, we had participants join here in the first session, and they just stayed for the next session. So it was really great. I mean, this was a completely new event. This was the first time that DSAG was doing this TechXchange, but for sure on the Microsoft side there was a lot of resonance from the participants. So this was really nice. We also had one more session with the partner Neptune. So Neptune is also a low-code provider that builds UI5 applications. And there we had a nice no-code, low-code challenge where we combined the Neptune solution that basically allows you to build a UI5 application and then connect this to Power Automate. And we basically built a simple approval flow where you had a sales order, you had a nice sales order list in a UI5 application. You could request an approval for this sales order, then the approval would show up in Teams as an adaptive card. You can click on approve in Teams and then approve the sales order really in the SAP system. And we even had one participant there that was saying, look, this was the best session for the last 3 days. He was super happy. Others were really saying, look, this is exactly what we are doing at home right now. So I think there was some really positive feedback on these scenarios. Yeah. When we created these sessions, and that's really a big thank you to Martin Pankratz, to Sebastian Ulrich, to Bastian Ulke, to a lot of others. So we have a long list of participants here. Christian Lechner from SAP also helped a lot in some of these sessions. We had GVB colleagues, other colleagues here that helped in creation. But all of these hands-on sessions are available on GitHub. Again, I have the link to the GitHub repository in the show notes. So if you want to do the CAP integration on Azure, if you want to do ABAP Cloud, or if you want to create your chatbot using Copilot, then all the informations are here. Granted, the environments are still there, but you probably don't have access if you didn't attend TechEd. But we tried to outline always the required steps. So for example, if you need Microsoft 365, if you need a Power Platform license or something like that, we provide you with the required informations how you can do this. So hopefully, even if you didn't attend the DSAG event, you can do this on your own.
And that's great, because if I would start with something, I always, okay, give me some example, give me the documentation, I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome, because it's not just a talk. It's really, again, as you mentioned, it's like, is it reality? And here you have the full deep dive examples how you can use it, right?
Exactly.
Which is wonderful.
Super. And so here it's really following this motto from DSAG, from vision to reality. This is really reality. This is really how you do it. And,
yeah.
And the same here for this Neptune integration, where we talked about Neptune and Power Automate. Again, all the steps are here. And then in the end, let me just scroll down here. You have here these sales order screen, and here's the approved screen already. But the idea was you have this list of sales orders. You could click and request an approval. Then it would show up in Teams, yeah, like what you can see here. Then you could just approve it in Teams, and then it would also show up as approved in your UI5 app. So I think that was also really nice to see how, yeah, these things became reality. One last thing that I quickly want to mention, as part of DSAG, there was also a meeting again of the Partnerbeirat. So basically a group of partners. So DSAG used to be, well, it's a user group, so mainly for SAP customers and users, but there are also a lot of partners in DSAG, and DSAG started to group these or give partners a forum. And I, together with 5 other colleagues, are part now of this partner board, basically. And we invited all the other partners to join. We had SAP there, so Uwe Gregoleit came and talked about Case for Cloud. So how SAP is presenting their new journey for Rise, for Grow. What does it mean? How How is SAP envisioning that partners will also help customers to migrate, to rise and grow? And it was a really good presentation from Uwe. But then there were also some really good discussions from the partners. So for me, actually, it's very much like when Microsoft changed from Microsoft on-premise to Microsoft 365. There Microsoft also did a lot of work with partners to help them change their business model. I was not there at Microsoft at that time, but my understanding is that Microsoft did a fairly good job to work really together with these partners to really help the partners to also really completely change their business model. I mean, like 10 years ago, it was a business model to run an Exchange server. I think right now there's probably not many partners that host an Exchange server anymore. This is all now part of Office 365 or Microsoft 365. And there was a lot of work, I think, that Microsoft did and worked with the partners to help them change their business model. And I think SAP needs to do the very same thing at the moment, that they need to educate, they need to help their partners to also change their business model. Because obviously with RISE, a lot of things will change. With Grow, a lot of things will change. So partners that do classic hosting, most likely they will need to change their business model. And then in his presentation, Uwe talked about Case for Cloud, but again, there was a strong discussion from the partners, and I think that's really good that DSAG is offering everyone this forum to talk about these things, and I'm sure we'll have some some definitiv noch weiteren Gesprächsbedarf. So there's definitely a need for further discussions on this, which is
I
good
think
again.
It seems that Germany is a little bit resistant to the cloud, compared to the US, and definitely some comments from DSAG make sense. However, I also do feel there is a need for SAP more to evangelize and basically explain what would be the benefit, of BTP and different kind of stuff. And because it is a change, it is a big change here, no doubt. Yeah.
I fully agree, and that's exactly the thing where I think this forum of partners coming together, listening to SAP, but also responding to SAP is something that is very important, and it's great that DSAG initiated this whole thing, and now let's see what's happening with this.
Great. Excellent overview, Holger. Really, a lot of good news, a lot of useful content where it's not just the theory, but basically the reality behind you. It's reality kind of with all the GitHub stuff. I mean, so that people can really see it's happening. It is happening, and they can try by themselves. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. It was also a lot of work, actually, but it was also really fun. It was great to meet a lot of customers, partners, but also a lot of colleagues from SAP again. And then really having the opportunity to present some of the stuff that we've been doing was great. And now I'm looking forward to the next step with this.
Coming back home.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, tomorrow I'll take the first train back home.
Great. Excellent. Thank you, Holger.
Great.
Really very, very useful. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for watching, and then we'll see each other next week again.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Perfect.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.